Hello, welcome to another Gundam Operation 2 video. That is the new suit, the Sisquiede. I'm pretty sure that's what the the English Google Translate told me how to pronounce it. I know in Japanese it's pronounced completely different. At least sounds like it's completely different. But yeah, honestly, I just kind of like the way the English version sounds. Sisquiede. Sounds like I'm trying to say squeegee, but and yeah, this is actually our first completely original SD Gundam suit. Now I know this isn't technically our first SD suit because we did have the Gym Gather Road, but obviously that's based on a gym. It's not a completely original work, right? Or a suit, I should say. And yeah, the Sisquiede here, which I'm probably gonna call it just the Sissy for short, because I always love giving my suits really weird names like the Gym CBT and the Funny Jagan, if you guys know what those are. And yeah, the Sissy here is a is a 550 support, and I do have potentially 3 matches here for you, depending on how long I go on for. But for if I don't, I do at least have 2 matches here for you. This first match is going to be me in my first, literally my first match, gonna be my first match playing this suit with King on Colony Drop, which that's how you know the suit's gonna be good, when I'm gonna be posting my first match with it, because I was that impressed with it. At least just trying to work with it, right? So I will be using that. And the second match is gonna be me in a ace match by myself. I'll be helping out a Sturm Gallus, try to get better at. I said get better, but he was already really amazing as a player, being an ace, right? But help him get more points as an ace. There we go. And if we do have a third match, it will be a match where I'm playing a space rating, or actually no, I think it might be a regular. Nah, I think it's a space rating, and at 600 with a 550 suit. And Aoshi-san will be there. We just ran into each other. If I am gonna post that, or if there's gonna be a third match, I will leave a link to his channel in the description. But yeah, the Sisquiede is a really damn good suit so far. So let's go ahead and get right into it. I'm going to start off with the stats here. I did say this is a 550 support. You have 20,000 health with 20 ballistic resistance, 24 beam resistance, 20 melee resistance, 37 range strength, 18 melee strength, 120 movement speed with 185 movement boost speed, my bad, with 70 thruster gauge and 60 turning speed. Now, obviously, the highest thing here for you is going to be 24 beam resistance. Honestly, I do have a build. I'm going to go straight to what I've been building for this suit, because I actually done a few interesting builds. The first build I actually did with this is I did buff up my beam resistance, because that's going to be the more common thing you'll be running into is beam weaponry. So I buffed up my beam resistance, and I buffed up my kind of a balanced build of melee and range damage, which is fine. Do more damage just generally. I like to call it just a general build, right? Now, another build I did with this is actually put more melee resistance on my suit. I left my beam resistance alone because you do have a sub-weapon that if you use it correctly, you don't have to worry about beams too much. Honestly. You can skip the beam resistance and go straight for melee resistance, and I believe I got like 43 melee resistance, and I went straight for range damage, so I can do even more damage when I when I absorb a beam shot. Go straight into the my primary gun, go over like 3,000 damage when I shoot them, go straight into melee, because I have all that melee resistance in my all the part slots for melee resistance. But even then, the melee strength is still good, just the base stats that you have, that I didn't even put any more melee strength on it. And you'll see that throughout these 2 matches, where especially the first match, or the second match I should say, because that's just what the melee damage does. How much damage I'm just doing regularly, right? As a support to generals and whatnot. So pretty good. And the third build I did was auxiliary generator parts. Now, unfortunately, I don't have a match that I'm going to be showcasing here to show that off, but essentially I have level 5 auxiliary generator and level 1 combined, and basically my primary weapon and one of my sub-weapons will be taking 10 seconds to get out of overheat, which is pretty insane. And because you have really significant weapons, or at least one of your other sub-weapons, your I-fuel generator is an overheat, or a heat-based weapon, right? That will help you be able to use that even faster in a lot of situations. So yeah, that is a very helpful build. So yeah, a lot of different builds you can do with this. Really interesting. Really like that. Pretty good. And I feel like I might have said already what the slots were, but just in case, for some reason I get that feeling in my chest that maybe I skipped it. But 13 close, 14 mid, and 13 long range slots. So there you go, just a double check on that, right? But yeah, now we're on to the weapons themselves. Starting off with your primary weapon, you have the Sisquiede L Beam Rifle, which is 2,600 damage with 80% heat rate and 500 range. Hits quite far. It is a basic stunning weapon, and it is a heat-based weapon. However, it does take, if you're going to continually fire it, like you say, you shoot it, wait for a cooldown, and then you shoot it again, it will overheat. But it does do pretty good damage. The base damage is 2,600, and you do have pretty good range strength. And of course, if you want to build for for more range strength, I think the second match I have like 60 something range strength to go with my my 40 melee resistance. Yeah, you'll be taking chunks out of health, especially when you activate either of your offense modes, which is pretty damn crazy. Pretty crazy. Really can chunk people. You just have to watch out because you don't want to overheat at a wrong moment where somebody can just, they notice that you can't stun them anymore, and they'll just start firing at you, right? So you have to be really careful when you want to attack somebody. But if you do, it will do a lot of damage. It's a basic stunning weapon though, so nothing too crazy. It doesn't penetrate, I believe. At least I haven't gotten a situation with it that where it did. But yeah, 500 range, pretty good amount of range there. Yeah, pretty nice weapon so far. Your melee weapon is the Sisquiede Beam Saber, which is 2,400 damage. And yeah, this suit has a really high modifier, it feels like. Downswings have been just chunking generals. Especially, again, if you activate your offense mode. Can do over 3,000 damage. You can already do over 3,000 damage, even 4,000 damage with your beam rifle, depending on your build. And you go straight into a melee that does 3,000, 4,000. That's already 6,000 to 8,000 damage, just in 2 hits practically. So, yeah, the damage on this is pretty insane. The neutral, oh my god, the downswing. It's not a Federation downswing. Unfortunately, it's not. It doesn't have the width diagonal slash, right? It does have a diagonal slash, but it is a little bit more narrow than others. And the neutral swing is a diagonal slash upwards, I believe. So you can hit the legs first. And the side swings are typical beam saber side swings. And yeah, that's it so far for primary. Now we're on to the secondary weapons. Starting off, you have the Sisquiede L Beam Rifle Rapid Fire, which is 900 damage per shot, 30% heat rate, and 500 range. And yeah, I should also mention with the Beam Rifle from the primary weapons, you do have to stop to fire. And this weapon is also a stop to fire, and you will shoot a burst of 3 rounds. And yeah, if you wait for the cooldown and shoot again, you will overheat this weapon, so you have to be really careful how you want to follow up with this. It's really easy just to use your beam rifle for a stun first, and then go straight to this weapon for follow-up damage. And yeah, 900 damage just right off the bat, almost close to 1,000. You pretty much will be doing over 1,000 to generals. And again, if you're not guys aren't paying attention to the damage output I've been doing whenever I activate offense mode, I've gotten almost 1,000. I think I'm pretty sure I've gotten 1,400 damage per shot, which shooting 3 rounds at a time. After doing a shot that would be like 4,000 damage from your primary weapon, that is insane damage. Really crazy damage. Again, it really showcases the damage output of this suit. However, again, you have to be careful because if you do... I should also mention it takes all 3 shots to stun. So, again, be careful if you do want to start off with this weapon or you're following up with this weapon. Because if you do miss, you do have to wait a little bit, of course, for the cooldown. But you won't get that stun, right? And of course, you have to watch out for suits that have damage control because it will take more than 3 hits to get a stun. So let's say you're fighting a Bolanook, yeah, you're gonna have to throw out more than just that sub weapon to get a stun. And yeah, again, be careful because it does overheat easily if you're just throwing it out there. Next secondary weapon is the Sisquiede Mega Cannon, which is almost at 10,000. Holy shit! I mean, it does 10,000 damage, but it's 1,000 damage per tick with a 100% heat rate and 600 range, and you do have to charge this. And unfortunately, you cannot move while charging this weapon. You do have to stand still, and it does take a little bit to charge this. But once you do, it is a pretty powerful Jirobi beam. You can move it while it's firing, and yeah, it's really easy just to get over 10k on a lot of generals. It is disgusting damage. However, because of the way it works, you do have to pick and choose a time where you want to sit down and actually use it. If not, yeah, you're just going to be sitting there charging, so if you don't do it in front of enemies, obviously. You could kind of sort of make it work if you're going to use your next sub weapon here. Obviously, if there's more than 5 people shooting, or there's more than 1 person shooting at you, it could be quite tough, especially at the ballistic weapons. So yeah, definitely want to use it for if there's downtime in between fighting. Like let's say you wipe the enemy team, you can set up somewhere and start charging, right? But yeah, the next sub weapon here is the eye field launcher defense, which is 0 damage and 100% heat rate, but this is a really strong tool to help you in a lot of different situations. Basically, what this eye field generator does is you do have to activate it. You have to pull it up as a weapon and then activate it, and there will be a purple kind of shield-like effect that will appear over your gun, your beam rifle, right? And what this does is that any beams that will be shot at you, if they stun, like if they're an instant stun weapon, they will not stun you. If they're a heavy stagger weapon, they'll normally stun you, and you will be able to absorb. You'll take more stun accumulation beam-wise to actually stun you. So let's say if you're fighting a fellow Sisquiede, you know how we said that the 3 shots will stun you? Well, it won't take those 3 shots to stun you. It'll take more. So yeah, this is actually really crazy because you can immediately switch to another range weapon while this is active and start shooting somebody with it, or while shooting while it's active. So basically, you can pull up your instant stun weapon. Let's say you're fighting, let's say for example, Star Jagan with a beam rifle. Star Jagan shoots you with a beam rifle. You absorb it, and you just immediately just shoot him back, and yeah, he gets stunned. You can follow up for melee or whatnot. You can follow up with your other secondary weapons. The rapid fire. Really strong tool for just tanking a lot of damage. Because again, when it does hit you, you won't get stunned, and also I forgot to mention that it reduces damage, so it does reduce damage by quite a lot. Especially if you're gonna do some beam resistance, which again, like I said, you don't even have to do beam resistance if you're really good at observing when you need to use the sub weapon. It's even better if you're fighting a group of enemies that have majority beam weapons, because you can just tank all their stuff all day, every day, and just fire back at them. Just pretty much get free damage or a free clapback, I guess you can say. So yeah, pretty useful weapon. I say weapon, doesn't do really much anything damage-wise, but really good defense tool against, especially against raids that have beam weaponry, because they have to do something else to stun you. They actually have to not just rely on just walking up to you with an easy beam rifle stun. They actually have to do something else, unless they have a ballistic weapon stun. But and yeah, that's it for the weapons. Now we're on to the skills. You have radar. You have scope level 2. So you can zoom in while you're scoped in. You have data link, so you can see enemy health. You have aerospace gimbal level 2, so you can tilt up and down further in space. You have balancers, which is interesting, really good for support to have. You have AMBAC level 2. You have force injectors. You have melee combo controller. So hold up real fast. You're a support with balancers, force injectors, and you can swing your melee twice. Not only that, you have power accelerator. I believe this is the first time in the game a support has power accelerator. What this does is if you're clashing, after you guys bounce back from the clash, you can immediately start boosting instead of waiting to get out of that animation. You can start boosting and then go right back to your opponent and start meleeing them. That is really crazy, but this is more helpful for the other skill this suit has, or other skills I should say, because initially this suit has 1 melee priority. We'll get there when we get there. You have eye field control. Eye field control is basically just your eye field launcher, essentially. It just tells you what that does. You have leg buffer level 2. I believe that's 15% less damage when you get shot in the legs. And you have a back binder cushioning level 3. I believe that might be 15% or 30, one of those, and that's obviously where your back binders are. And finally, you have offense phase 1 and offense phase 2, which we'll call offense mode. Offense phase 1 or offense mode 1, you can activate whenever you want. It doesn't matter if you're full health, half health, as long as you're above 30% health. When you activate this, you will gain an increase in attack power and an increase in defense. And you will actually gain melee priority level 2. So you'll be able to bounce or clash with most generals at this cost. And of course, you can also obviously, if you're getting in a melee situation with support, you can more than likely overpower the support. Oh man, I forgot to mention real fast the I-field launcher. I'm so sorry about this. The I-field launcher defense. If you do remember, I did say that the I-field launcher, it does work whenever you have your ranged weapon out, your ranged weapons. It does go away when you pull out your melee weapon, so keep that in mind. Don't think that you can cheese an instant stun if you just pull out your melee to walk up after a stun on somebody, right? No, it only works if you have your ranged weapons. You pull out your melee weapon, your I-field launcher will instantly go into overheat, so keep that in mind. So anyway, now we're back to the offense phase. What it also does is it gives you flight control level 2, so if you're in the air, you can start boosting and jumping if you want to, I believe, jumping as well. And yeah, pretty crazy, because you can activate that whenever you want. It gives you 1 minute to do what you want, damage-wise, or just coming up to melee somebody. And yeah, a little bit more defense as well. You'll probably see me using that quite often in situations where, okay, well, our team is pushing. I guess I'll go ahead and activate this just to help provide a little bit more supporting damage, right? And yeah, it does do that pretty damn well. Again, I gotten like over 4,000 damage per shot on a primary weapon, and close to 1,400 per shot on the rapid fire beam rifle, which is crazy. And of course, your melee also goes up in damage as well, because your attack goes up. The downside is whenever your offense mode runs out of time, when the time limit is up, your thrusters will overheat. So it's better than having your legs break, honestly. So that means whenever you're in the middle of a fight, if your thrusters get out of overheat, well, hey, you can be back to fighting. So I'm fine with that, honestly. And offense mode 2, is essentially just a better version of this, and you get a little bit more extra. A lot more extra. So you get I believe you get even more attack power. This you have to activate if you're at 30% or below 30% health. You cannot activate this when you're at above 30% health. Whenever you do press the touchpad button, it will instantly activate offense mode 1, not 2. 2 is at 30% and below. When you do activate it, like I said, you get even more attack damage and even more defense. You will gain melee priority 3, which is a first for supports as well. Not only do you get power accelerator, but you also get not damage control. My bad. Melee priority level 3. So you will clash with against other raids. That is insane for a support to do. The downside is obviously you will be at really low health, so just be aware. Not only that though, you will also get a double dodge roll, much like the Zeta HML, and you will gain flight control level 3, and you will gain you'll be faster as a suit as well. You'll start gaining, I believe your speed will be comparable to a general at 550 when you start doing high speed boost, right? That is crazy. That is really crazy. Just to have the ability to, if you're nearly about to die, if somebody didn't finish you off, you might be able to pull something out of your ass where you can do a dodge roll or clash with raids. And you know what? You can even overpower some raids like the Gem Nightseeker, because the Gem Nightseeker has melee 2 priority. So you can overpower a raid. Again, that is the first time I think we've had a support that has melee priority 3. Really damn crazy. And getting a double dodge roll as well. Yeah, these are really good skills to complement this suit's very basic weaponry, which will go ahead and lead us into the pros and cons, which unfortunately, I'm going to go ahead and start off with the cons first. And the cons starting off with the suit is that it has, it does have typical support problems initially where, obviously if you're not going to be using your I-field launcher, you are a pretty big target. That should be another downside of the suit is you are a big target. You will be easier to hit than other suits if you're not very careful with how you're using your I-field launcher or where you're positioning yourself. You will be stunned, just flat out. You will be stunned. and you are still a support where you can get comboed by and nearly killed by raids. So really keep that in mind. No matter how strong this suit can be, just you still can get eliminated by a really bad, if you're really unlucky and you do a bad play, right? And you'll notice that I believe in the matches I post, I kind of just at least once per match I come in trying to kill somebody and then I just get jumped and immediately die. So keep that in mind. Another downside for this suit does have really easy to overheat weapons. My bad, overheated weapon. Like I said, the L beam rifle, it takes two shots to overheat if you're not going to wait for you to fire again more safely, right? That way it doesn't overheat. And the same thing with the rapid beam rifle, where if you're waiting to shoot, if you're going to do the rapid fire all 3 bursts and then you fire another 3 bursts immediately afterwards after the cooldown, it will overheat. Those will be 2 weapons that already overheated if you're just going to fire them willy-nilly into a crowd. That only leaves you with either the eye field launcher or the mega cannon to use as a weapon, which obviously the eye field launcher is just a defensive tool, and the mega cannon is going to take forever to charge if you're in the middle of battle. It leaves you with your melee as well, but yeah, obviously you can't work that with anything unless you're doing offense phase. Oh my goodness, I forgot about offense phase. It gives you offense phase 2 gives you offensive system. Wow, there's a lot of things on this suit. Offense system is where you can absorb a instant stun if you do a melee attack. So if you're doing your downswing, you absorb a stun. There we go. Damn, I think it's everything for offense phase, offense mode, whatever you want to call it. God damn, there's a lot of stuff here. But yeah, the more downsides. Yeah, overheat, your big target. Unfortunately, offense mode 2 does require you to be at 30% or below health. That is pretty dangerous health to be at, depending on who you're fighting in a match. So do be very careful if you are going to activate that. And of course, if somebody is fighting you and they're just going to read you, like doing the offense mode, it's kind of like doing exam or NTD, where you'll stand there for a second to activate it. Yeah, you have to be really careful if somebody's right in front of you. They can just wait there and wait for you to get done doing that, and they'll probably just shoot you afterwards. So use that in situations where, before you're going to get into a fight, or maybe to absorb somebody's hits while doing that. But yeah, besides that, there's not too many other cons I can think of. They are significant cons, though. The overheat, I think, is pretty significant or easy to overheat weapons, I think, is pretty significant. That can hamper how you can push with a team. If you're pushing against somebody, if you're just fighting one general and you already overheated all your weapons, it's going to make it tough to push with your team against the rest of the enemy team. So be careful how you're going to fire your beam weapons at somebody. But yeah, that'll lead into the pros for this suit. The pros are this suit has high amounts of damage, gross levels of damage if you manage to hit all your shots off and just pin somebody down. Just the primary into the rapid fire, or rapid fire to primary, and then straight into your melee is just really gross damage. I'm talking like general's gonna get half health or even over half health, and if you activate offense system, that's a guarantee. They are going to just get mollywopped if they're not careful around you, especially if they're using a beam weapon. Yeah, if you activate eye field launcher and just shoot them back, yeah, you're good as golden. Oh, man, I forgot another downside. Ballistic weapons. My bad. Ballistic weapons will be able to stun you past your eye field. There we go. I'm forgetting a lot of stuff here because there is a lot of stuff on this suit when you have to consider stuff, right? But yeah, ballistic weapons will stun you. That is a downside. But yeah, back to pros again. Beam rifles. The eye field launcher is really great. You have really good weapons. You have really great damage output. The offense mode 1 and offense mode 2 are actually really useful in quite a few situations. If you watch the matches that are there so far, I've used offense mode in quite a few situations where maybe at the last minute of a match I'll activate it just right then and there as soon as I spawn in. That way, it's going to be the last minute of the match, and not like it's going to be wasted or anything, right? Or even right before our team's going to push on the enemy team, I'll activate it. or maybe just as using it as a defense tool. If somebody's shooting at me, well, I'll just activate it, right? Same thing with there's plenty of situations for that, and you can kind of do the same thing with offense mode 2. Although offense mode 2 is probably going to be when you're going to be in a very dangerous moment because you'll be low health, right? So, and yeah, obviously all the stuff that goes into offense mode as well, where you get more damage, you take less damage. With offense mode 2, you get a double dodge roll, you get melee priority 3, which offense mode 2, 1, Jesus Christ, there's so much stuff on this. Offense mode 1, you get melee priority 2, you can clash with most generals. If you're going to go super aggressive with the suit, you can potentially do a lot of harm. And again, you have power accelerator as well, so when you do clash with somebody, you can boost out of that and just go right back into the battle. I haven't felt... There's so much potential in this suit. I haven't really felt all the possibilities of what I can do with this just yet. Obviously, there's a lot better players in this game than I am, and they probably showcase it a lot more, and I can't wait to experience those kind of things. Like, I want to do a little bit more melee stuff with this, where I want to get that melee priority 2 and just bounce off generals and then go straight back into them to go for more combos. I feel like that's going to be a really strong point this suit will have, that it can do stuff that all other supports can't do, especially since it has balancers and more than one melee swing. I think at 550 natively, the only other suit that can clash with generals is the RS Georgia, which compared to this suit, does not have nearly as much stuff as this suit does. And to me, doesn't do nearly as much damage as this suit can do. Again, it's really hard to separate these pros because they kind of just bleed into each other. There's just so much good stuff about this suit. But again, those cons are pretty significant. Where if you're not using that eye field launcher, you can be bullied. You will be bullied, and if you're not careful with your heat rates, you will just be wasting output in a match. And of course, ballistic suits will be a direct counter to you. Suits like, for example, the Aqua GP01, just for an example, right? Or something like the Stark Jagan, if it's using, I think that you could use a bazooka, right? Yeah, with the shrapnel bazooka, that'll work. Stuff of that nature, right? Or something like the Girazulu using the Sturmfaust bazooka instead of using its beam rifle. Stuff like that will be a direct counter to you. But that will be the end of this video. If you guys enjoyed this video, leave a like, subscribe if you want. I'd really appreciate it. And type up in the comment section how you feel about the Sisquiede. Really love the way it sounds. Excuse me. Do you like it? Do you hate it? And type up in the comment section how you feel about it. And for me, I actually do really enjoy playing this suit. I almost want to compare it to some other supports that I've had really great matches with it in the past. With the Advanced Hazel, which funny enough is also at 550. The Zusa, the Full Armor Hakushiki Kai, all those other great supports in the past that I've had really great initial matches with. This suit also feels really damn good. It feels like it can help a really good team out. And honestly, I haven't had too many terrible matches. Even if I wasn't doing super hot, and there's been a few matches where I've gotten 5th place and 4th place. Honestly, that's the lowest I've gotten using this suit. I have not hit a super low placement yet. And that's really telling me something about this suit. Sometimes even with really good suits, there'll be a moment where, okay, I did really bad. Okay, I'm dropping down. I have a few matches in a row like that. But no, I've been consistently getting decent matches with this thing. That is really telling to somebody like me. And I can only imagine what a really good player can do with this suit. It's gonna be really interesting to see how this suit's going to evolve during the coming weeks, right? And honestly, it makes me kind of terrified what raids we're going to get at 550. If this thing is running around along with the Advanced Hazel, those are two really, really strong supports. So they're going to have to do something. Well, I guess if I think about it, you have suits like the Zekuhein's Type 1, or Is the Rigazi still powerful? I don't remember. Actually, it's been a hot minute since I've seen a Rigazi. But oh well. Yeah, that'll be it. And I will see you guys later. Bye.
48 too many.
If not SD Gundam, whatever AU suits.
That's so depressing.
Oh, sorry, Dongo.
You had two people and you went for directly towards me, bro. What the fuck? That wasn't even close. Oh my. Bro, you completely fucked that up, dude.
I didn't mean.
Three people and I got hit. You started comboing my ass.
My mindset went ooga booga. Anything you buy.
With the support. That's your own support retard.
I'm not gonna lie, I've actually done that multiple times. I've seen a support and I just started swinging on him.
Thing is, King literally got up and went straight for me. God, I was with him the entire time.
My mindset
I was about to